He admitted
something
that this
called,
was a
like,
distraction for
Project
humanity.
Bluebeam.
Yeah, good one.
What is that?
That's
lasers, right?
Yeah, I can actually talk about that one, but that is this is really bad, but you know the people that see orbs in the sky?
Yeah.
Go around and fly faster
UFOs?
UFOs.
Yeah, there's Navy pilots. There's multiple Navy pilots who talk about they got they were flying F-18s. These Navy pilots, and one of them's coming in here in 2 weeks. He's Ryan Graves.
Okay.
He's a Navy pilot flying off the coast of North Carolina, and they got their radar upgraded on their F-18s, and all of a sudden they were seeing these things darting around on their radar.
Okay. Don't tell him what I'm about to say and see if he knows about it.
Okay.
So what we do is we play with our own forces to make sure our trickery will work on the enemy. And those are directed energy weapons of where we do intersecting beams or focus beams into the atmosphere. And notice they're always in the atmosphere to excite the electron orbitals of the oxygen and nitrogen in our atmosphere, and it causes a glow and it causes ionization. That ionization shows up on radar, and it's like a cat laser pointer, and we're making planes chase them.
That's exactly how they describe these things moving, like laser pointers.
Yeah, and so we can do it in 3 space. We can make it look like
in 3-dimensional space.
Yeah, and we can make it look like an entire fleet is about to drop bombs on, let's say, Europe, and then just have them disappear. And they get all their planes up in the air, and we attack them from the other direction, assuming we're attacking Europe.
Who is doing this? The Navy, you said?
Somebody. Let's just say a group. A group. You know.
And you know this for a fact.
I know for a fact, yeah. So anyway, don't tell your guests.
A group within the U.S. government.
Yeah, okay, we'll leave it at that. Yes.
And is this something that could be seen with the naked eye? Or
yes,
was this something
because
that was
it glows. It glows. So it would be seeable, you can see it by the naked eye, and it would leave a radar trace. So it's perfect as a deception, and it involves the voice of God weapons that I was talking about.
Project Bluebeam.
And this got leaked, so it probably won't have the effect, and they probably won't do it. But if you wanted to bring the world together, as President Reagan said in several UN speeches, you would have a common enemy like evil aliens attacking. We forget our differences and we fight against it.
So we wouldn't look at each other as Chinese or Russian or American. We'd look at each other as Earthlings.
It's humans. Yeah, as Earthlings. And so that was Project Bluebeam, was to trick the human race into believing either God is coming down, everybody hears the voice of God, the microwave hearing effect, get along, give, whatever the new message is, or it was going to be the evil aliens attacking. And notice how all of a sudden, all the governments release all their information on UFOs, and there's a whole division dedicated, and that's just deception.
You think it's all deception?
I think it's all deception.
Really?
Yeah. But, that's my opinion. I've looked at all the videotapes and that people have given me, and I can explain away each one of them.
So apparently, but there's apparently lots of footage and videos and photos that have not been released to the public.
Yeah, I haven't seen those, so I can't get.
And if you think this is all some sort of psyop, what do you think the ultimate purpose of it is?
Distraction against a lot of this human experimentation we're doing.
Okay, I got a weird one for you. Why is the Vatican holding a press conference this Thursday? A reason that they give for this press conference is cause for alarm. But before I move on, I must say this video is for entertainment purposes only. With that being said, let's take a look, shall we? Vatican preparing guidelines for apparitions and other supernatural phenomena. So guidelines, the Vatican puts out guidelines all the time, and they update them all the time. But regarding supernatural phenomenon and apparitions, they haven't done it since 1978. The Vatican is preparing to release a document giving guidance on how to discern supernatural phenomena. The Holy See Press Office announced the upcoming document will be published May 17th with a live stream press conference. They are in the process of finalizing a new text with clear guidelines and norms for the discernment of apparitions and other phenomena, according to the National Catholic Register. Why are they so concerned that we might not understand the difference between apparitions and other phenomenons? I don't know. Maybe we should look and see how the Vatican defines an apparition. An apparition refers to an instance in which a divine entity, such as a saint, the Virgin Mary, or Christ himself, makes itself known to a person on earth. I told you it was weird. What do they think we're going to see that we would not be able to discern between the supernatural and other phenomena? Is this really just an update to their guidelines, or is it a preemptive strike? I'm kind of leaning towards the preemptive strike, getting the information out there before it happens. But I have no idea. I do know I'm interested, and I'll be watching.
This the spot. This the spot. Nah, come back out. Look, why they be peeking like that? Peeking. Alright, so look, let me know.
Someone was walking by, bro, and they just disappeared when they got by the tree.
Un guardia de seguridad se dirige al lugar donde su compañero asegura que vio algo.
There was a lady walking, and she just disappeared in the sidewalk.
Inspecciona el lugar, pero no ve a nada y a nadie.
What the fuck? I know you guys didn't believe me, but somebody walking by. ¿Qué pasó, güey? Oh, güey, mira. Ahí va saliendo. What the fuck? Mira. What the hell? Salió del un hoyo, güey, no mames. Mira. Ahí va. What the fuck? What is that? ¿Qué es eso, güey?
¿Sabes a quién se parece la viejita que camina?
Es la Llorona, güey. No mames. Mira.
Come on, work.
I'm fucked up, Jimmy. You ain't fucked up. But that shit's getting all but close to the moon. You see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Well, it's fucked up. Our government is fucked up.
What was that?
Why? Bam!
What did it just hit?
Look at it. Look at the fucking smoke ring. Are you fucking shitting me? I'm a drunk ass redneck videoing some fucking shit. Like, what in the fuck is that? There's the fucking moon. This bullshit just sent a fucking shockwave. What?
Ебать. Ой, блядь, паук опять поселился. А ну подожди. Сейчас я Что-то... Это что вообще такое? Это НЛО?
Incredible video trending social media of what looks like an extraterrestrial short gray. Now we also have a picture of this fella at the bottom of the video, as you guys could see. Apparently this home security camera in what they're titling on social media Skinwalker Ranch happens to be this baby little alien that's like 3 to 4 feet. And you know, many people have claimed to have seen these grays, and sometimes they're tall, sometimes they're not. But you know, if you look at the pyramids and you know, all the indigenous people back in the days, they used to draw these grays on the walls of the pyramids. And what do they have in common with human beings? Is it humans from the future coming back? Comment below.
Amigo. Apaga la luz. Apaga la luz.
La noche del domingo 5 de mayo del 2024, el joven Rafael Benvedetti, desde la localidad de Escobar, en Buenos Aires, Argentina, logró documentar un misterioso acontecimiento que es denominado por los investigadores y especialistas como Racing Track o pista de carreras, luces misteriosas de origen desconocido que se mueven en el cielo a una velocidad extraordinaria. En la grabación obtenida por el joven Benvedetti, podemos observar los desplazamientos de las extrañas luces que en un movimiento de ida y vuelta, en cuestión de segundos, recorren varias decenas de kilómetros.
Amigo. Apaga la luz. Apaga la luz.
Asimismo, esa misma noche del 5 de mayo, otro testigo que circulaba en un camino de esta misma localidad de Escobar, desde su automóvil registró el fugaz movimiento de estas luces. La toma nos permite confirmar la enorme velocidad a la que se mueven.
Amigo, ¿qué carajo es eso? ¿O haciendo contramano? Amigo, ¿qué carajo? Amigo.
Se ha descartado la probabilidad de que se trate de cañones de luz, ya que no se aprecian haces que provengan de la superficie, y no existe manera de que la luz de los reflectores puedan abarcar grandes distancias como lo estamos viendo en este video. El origen de estas señales definitivamente está ubicado en el cielo. El verdadero misterio consiste en tratar de entender qué es lo que nos están diciendo. La divulgación de estas evidencias en video a través de redes sociales ha generado un profundo interés en la opinión pública y en los medios de comunicación de Argentina, quienes están dando seguimiento a este importante avistamiento. El canal de noticias La Nación entrevistó al autor del video, Rafael Benvedetti, quien así narró los detalles de este acontecimiento.
¿Cómo? Contanos un poco del momento, ¿no? O sea, vos sacaste el celular, lo grabaste, la verdad es que...
No fue así en realidad. Yo en realidad abrí aquí atrás, como ustedes ven, que es el comedor de mi casa, para que mis perros, yo tengo 5 perros, ellos salen generalmente al jardín, entonces yo les abrí y cuando les abro la puerta me encuentro con esto tan raro en el cielo. Realmente me sorprendió tanto que le digo a mi mujer Michelle, le digo, ¿vos estás viendo lo mismo que yo? Y enseguida ella atrás, con el celular, me dijo, sí, lo estoy viendo y lo estoy filmando.
Claro, somos dos, no estoy loco, lo estamos viendo los dos.
El patrón de comportamiento de este racing track es el mismo que había sido reportado en Japón las noches del 14 y 15 de mayo del 2022, donde cientos de luces fueron vistas recorriendo a gran velocidad la ciudad de Tokio. De acuerdo a la información, fueron cientos de testigos quienes atemorizados observaron este fenómeno, derivando en que las líneas de emergencia se saturaran. Del mismo modo, luces desplazándose a velocidades sorprendentes fueron vistas en Ohio el 8 de enero del 2022. Jesús Esquivel Reyes envió a la redacción de Tercer Milenio una grabación registrada la noche del martes 30 de abril del 2024 por un automovilista que circulaba en una autopista del estado de Virginia en la Unión Americana, y en donde podemos apreciar los sorprendentes movimientos sincronizados de una serie de luces en el cielo, que al igual que las de Argentina, recorren grandes distancias y realizan movimientos coordinados. Las luces se separan por varios kilómetros y en instantes vuelven a concentrarse en un solo punto. ¿Qué explicación podemos darle a esta clase de manifestaciones? Al observar estas imágenes podemos entender que estamos ante un verdadero enigma, el cual desafía todas las explicaciones convencionales. Lo cierto es que podemos deducir que sin duda, alguien que no es de este mundo podría estar tratando de llamar nuestra atención. Información para Tercer Milenio 360 Internacional.
Apagar la luz.
Based on that, yes, these installations for the most part are subterranean, and they go down several several levels. I can't give specifics, but they are real. Deep underground military bases are a real thing. It's the most common practice for all this technology because they have somewhere to store it, and it's safe from nuclear fallout, nuclear exchange. So I wish I could talk about it further, but I honestly can't. So maybe one day in the future I will be able to, and when that does happen, I'll be able to point and paint a picture for everybody so they understand. But it's a lot of money that to fund these. And what the interesting thing about this too is all these installations are very self-sufficient. So everybody's asked, well, what about the janitors? What about the people who prep the food or do facilities maintenance? Like, why don't they come forward? Well, they're also taken in the demographic of people that may not have this ability with P3 when they're screened, but they use these refugees also to use this. And if they're given a good lifestyle, they're taken care of, they have medical, they've got education, their families are taken care of, then they will not come forward and risk their livelihood because they're technically illegal immigrants. And there's a risk that, let's say, if they were to get deported or something, they'd have to go back to where they're at. They don't want to go back to a impoverished area. They want to stay in the program they're doing because they're taken care of.
Sure.
And that's kind of it's because what they have expressed is that if you were to go liberate people in these installations, they are people who don't want to be liberated. They want to just resume their lifestyle because they're given everything they need, more than what they would be in their original environment that they come from.
Go ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah, I just wanted to wait. I need to get that documentation before I want to talk about it.
All right.
The left-wing lunatics are trying very hard to bring back COVID lockdowns and mandates with all of their sudden fear-mongering about the new variants that are coming. Gee whiz, you know what else is coming? An election. They want to restart the COVID hysteria so they can justify more lockdowns, more censorship, more illegal drop boxes, more mail-in ballots, and trillions of dollars in payoffs to their political allies heading into the 2024 election. Does that sound familiar? These are bad people. These are sick people we're dealing with. But to every COVID tyrant who wants to take away our freedom, hear these words: we will not comply. So don't even think about it. We will not shut down our schools. We will not accept your lockdowns. We will not abide by your mask mandates. And we will not tolerate your vaccine mandates. They rigged the 2020 election, and now they're trying to do the same thing all over again by rigging the most important election in the history of our country, the 2024 election, even if it means trying to bring back COVID. But they will fail because we will not let it happen. When I'm back in the White House, I will use every available authority to cut federal funding to any school, college, airline, or public transportation system that imposes a mask mandate or a vaccine mandate. Thank you very much.
What I experienced as a kid growing up in Judaism, nonstop abuse, nonstop lies, nonstop being programmed to think we're better than everyone else and we should kill everyone else and take their stuff. How and why did Israel kill JFK? How and why did Israel do 9/11 and take over our government? It's anti-Semitism does not exist. Actually, there is anti-Satanism, and I am a proud anti-Satanist because Satan is the deity of Torah, okay? And so 100%, not all of them know this because they've been psyops. They think they worship God, a lot of them. They're like the good God who told us to kill all the people, the good God who told us to commit genocide, the good guy who told us to chop off baby penises, the good God who told us to take slaves from neighboring nations. No, that's not the good God, that's Satan. Satan is the deity of Torah. So I'm an anti-Satanist, and I say every single copy of Torah needs to be burned and deleted. That would solve the problem. The Zionist Jews are the most powerful ones, right? But that tribe, that cult, that cabal has de facto 100% control of all sources of American power. Okay, so our spy agencies, the CIA, the NSA, the FBI, our military, the White House, Congress, probably most of our judicial system, and our media and lots of other stuff. It's all controlled by that cabal. Which, yeah, we live in, I call it like the usurped states of Zionism and the Central Intelligence Agency, and the CIA is basically run by Israel. And some people kind of call it Jumerica, and I think there's some truth to that. I think we kind of live in Jumerica at this point, and we need America. And we need to not have a country run by Jews. I mean, that's just the reality. And again, not all Jews, just in case anyone's listening to this recording, I'm not saying all Jews, I'm saying the powerful Jews at the top. It's obvious. Like, you have to be blind not to see it.
Well, the Star of David, where does that symbol come from?
It's never written explicitly in the Bible itself.
Is it in the Talmud? Perhaps. Is there a passage in the Bible about that or no?
No.
Okay. So you're not really sure exactly where that comes from?
No. You got me.
Is it nobody knows,
Yeah,
huh?
I don't know. I'm not, yeah.
Because I know it's called the Star of David.
Yeah.
Does it have anything to do with David?
No, I don't think so. There must be somewhere. I do not remember exactly what the association was.
Okay. I believe that what they call the Star of David is actually the Star of Remphan. Because when you study the Bible, you'll see that when they worshipped other gods, the Bible talks about them carrying the banner of the star of their god Remphan.
You rejected the God of the Bible. You took up for yourself the star, that's the six-pointed star, of your God, called Remphan or Kiyun. All these were names for Moloch. But the God they worship, the great architect, is Moloch, the star god.
Yeah, it's actually the Star of Moloch, which is what they also call the Great Architect or the Star God, which is what all these Satanist type people all worship. That's whose star it is. And interestingly, it's also the star used in Freemasonry, which they say is basically has the same beliefs as the Jews, which is that everyone on earth basically needs to be killed except for them. At the high levels. They don't teach, see, that's the thing, you can go to a Freemason lodge, you'll find a bunch of dirty cops there and probably some lawyers and some people who want to like make money, and they have no idea what it's all about. But at the very top, it's the same. There appears to be a lot of people who call themselves Jews now who are actually from Khazaria, which is an area basically where the Ukraine is, where a lot of Jews are now moving. The Laz people who are from Khazaria also use the same symbol, the six-pointed star. So the Khazarian people use it, and the Jews use it, and it's apparently the Star of Moloch.
Now I'd like to speak directly to those who have fought factually, respectfully, and relentlessly for the truth over the last 3 years. As of 4/10/24, I got another one of these certified letters from the state election board. Every time I get one of those letters, my wife sets it on my desk and she says, "You got another one of those certified letters. I hope you're not being indicted this time." But anyways, as of that letter, it has now been factually proven that both the hand audit, this is really, really important, and the certified machine count, yes, the certified count, have both been found to be in violation of Georgia election law. Based on these findings, to those that have fought factually, respectfully, and relentlessly, I'll close with one word: vindicated.
Thank you, Joe.
Your assessments here are correct. These are very covert weapons, aren't they? They don't leave behind bomb fragments, bullet holes, etc. They could absolutely be used by our adversaries and have very low levels of, very easy to deny that they were even there, that they were used. Is that correct?
That's correct. There's no entry or exit wound. How they're designed is to make the target feel like they're crazy, like they're imagining things, especially on the low duration, the low intensity, long duration hits.
You guys also said that these attacks are happening right here in this city. Is that correct?
I mean, there have been some that have gone public with respect to Washington, D.C.
I think it was Mr. Grozev said you spoke to a Russian agent who said that they believe that Americans are using these same weapons on them. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Might that have something to do with part of the CIA's motive to cover up the existence of this tech and these weapons?
That is a very logical possibility.
It's all come out, ladies and gentlemen. Directed energy weapons are being used at home. They're covering it up. At first, they rolled out the 5G, and then everybody started getting sick. This isn't an other people's problem. This isn't just happening to other people. This is happening to everybody. And you need to pay attention if you've been feeling off since the rollout of 5G, especially as a conservative or a pureblood. Chances are you're being targeted by this system. If you've been feeling chronic fatigue, recurring headaches, back problems, pain not associated with an injury, you're being hit by these weapons. It's not what you think. It's what they don't want you to know about. That's why we strongly recommend that you check out this book, Transhuman Genocide, so that you can understand exactly what's going on and how to defend yourself. You can find this book on Amazon. But this isn't your imagination. They want to torture people with long duration attacks. They mimic the stages of cancer. They cause heart attacks and strokes. You're all in danger.
This is called empire. This is imperialism. These are all the military bases the United States has around the world. You know, no other country has this. Just the United States has this. Nobody else does this. China, Russia, they don't have bases all over the world. Who does? We do. Because that's how capitalism ends up. You have to use a gun to keep it going. And you have to become fascists, which is what Joe Biden did to the railroad workers when he crushed a railroad strike. That's called fascism. The stuff that you hear all the time on TV as fascism isn't. That was actual fascism. And this is why our country is going down the shitter, and we're ending like all great empires end. We're overextending militarily while we won't take care of our own people at home. We just sent $15 billion, which could take care of everybody here in the United States. We just sent it to Ukraine with no debate, no talking about it. And we just built another military base in Syria. We built 3 more in the Philippines just in the last couple months. That's where your money's going, because your government is 100% corrupt, not regular corrupt. It's 100% corrupt. This is called corruption. Do you see this? Do you know what this is called? This is called $1 trillion a year in corruption, because that's all this is. These people are there, these military bases are there to make sure American corporations can extract natural resources from these places. Look at all the bases we have outside of China. Look at this. Here comes South America, Central America. Look at that. Can you imagine if China had these many bases in South and Central America or anywhere?
Yeah, right.
Can you imagine if China had all these bases in the Middle East? Imagine.
We have to have those bases so they don't get those.
So they don't get them.
Yeah. Don't you know there can be only one Jimmy? Didn't you see The Highlander?
No, I didn't. Oh. But that's where your money's going, and people are not upset.
I can disrupt an individual from the level of their cell to their system, and disrupt individuals on a variety of levels, from individuals all the way up to the social fabric. Target a specific individual, change or eliminate that individual with very little attribution and trace, and be able to leave prior to any attribution.
Who here actually feels like they are under surveillance pretty regularly?
Anyone occupied, no?
Everyone inside of occupied. How many people here have been arrested and have at their court date, they had their phone taken into the back room? How many people here had their retina scanned? Wow.
If you're targeting demonstrators, you make them suicidally depressed, and they don't care about demonstrating anymore because they're too upset. With one pulse frequency, you can just make people so suicidal they can't be bothered to act like a demonstrator anymore. All they want to do is sleep or lay in bed all day.
There's an infrastructure in place in the United States and worldwide that NSA has built in cooperation with other governments as well that intercepts basically every digital communication, every radio communication, every analog communication that it has sensors in place to detect.
If they can't get it through the internet, through the tapping of the lines or anything like that, through a commercial means, and they're unsure about you, they can get it by close access means, coming in and actually bugging your house or bugging your, or putting monitors in your system, in your house or on your computer. They can use your computer video to look back at you, or they can monitor within a certain distance the keystrokes you're making on your computer or what you're putting on your computer screen. And if that's not enough, they can come in through the firewall you think you have but don't, and go through your operating system that you think protects you but doesn't, and read your encrypted email that you thought was secure but isn't. Or they can simply wait for you to do decrypts if you've done that, pull them off, and use your unused CPU while you're on the computer to drain it. It's called active attack.
We are in a new Cold War, and this is why countries are developing this. I mean, really developing this. And this is why all of the microwave transmitters are going up everywhere. Because somebody, if they wanted to, could use them for other effects. The system is up and running.
MIT was awarded a number of years ago to Woody Norris. This is 2005 or 2006. And that award was $500,000 for doing what's called acoustic heterodyning, being able to send a signal from 2 points into an individual so they literally hear a voice in their head that nobody around them hears.
I mean, voices are the easiest ones, because all you have to do is stimulate the cochlea with a set resonant frequency. It's very easy. Voices are very easy. And it isn't people imagining voices, they physically hear them. You can physically make people hear voices, certain voices, and it can be any conversation, and it can be anybody you want to hear. It can be a soft, angelic voice, it can be a god, it can be something that scares you like a devil, it can be anything.
DARPA let a couple of contracts back in 2011, 2012 to the University of California for what's called electronic telepathy, being able to monitor the brain activity of human beings at a distance and determine what they're thinking. And then on a second contract, actually developing complex signals, being able to send them into the brain of another person, literally transmit a message. This is where the technology is today.
After 9/11 and the birth of Homeland Security, fusion centers were set up to monitor U.S. citizens, and the U.S. Department of Justice legalized non-consensual experiments on the public. These fusion centers employ civilians to target individuals and harass them, intimidate them, vandalize their property, and interfere with their day-to-day life. This is known as gang stalking. Former high-ranking FBI agent Ted Gunderson reported in 2011 that himself and thousands of others were being targeted. FBI agent Mike German confirmed this as well. Several federal agents have reported that they were targeting individual Americans, including people who were simply pro-life, and that they were pressured to put more people on their targeting lists to legitimize more federal funding. These Homeland Security fusion centers are able to put any American citizen on the terrorist watch list without any reason or due process. In 2012, NSA whistleblower William Binney reported that the feds are conducting comprehensive surveillance on nearly every U.S. citizen and targeting whomever they please. In 2014, Glenn Greenwald exposed the methods used to target individuals, such as hacking into people's social media accounts, posing as that person, and contacting their friends and coworkers. TargetedJustice.com is currently working on suing the federal government for targeting individual U.S. citizens with different high-tech weapons, including directed energy weapons. The Havana Syndrome, when diplomats in Cuba were attacked with directed energy weapons, was not an isolated event. There are thousands of individuals who claim to be under this same sort of attack, and they have the scars to prove it. As far back as 1976, the technology to remotely alter brainwaves has existed, including voice-to-skull technology that allows the government to directly transmit voices into people's brains. As bad as all this is, it is likely to get much worse. In 2017, Dr. James Giordano gave a lecture on the latest government technologies to target individuals, such as neuroweapons to control brain function and modify memories.
I'm looking to target key individuals who may then be influential to relative aspects of their representative groups. I can affect individuals' brain functions in a variety of different ways, both positively and negatively, by engaging or disengaging nodes and networks of the brain that therefore affect their cognitions, emotions, and ultimately their behaviors. Something my colleague Jamie Canton likes to play with an awful lot is the idea of specialized neural operations. And here, once again, we're talking about the use of either drugs and or devices to modify the integrity of brain function that we realize can also modify individuals' perception of time and space. We talked earlier about how these may be used in interrogation scenarios, and this too may be used against key individuals to be able to modify their perception of time, their perception of what occurred and what did not, memory modification, etc.
Nanoparticulates that can give an individual a stroke.
So what we're able to do here is infiltrate the brain space with nanoparticulate matter that aggregates in situ, on site in the brain, and does one of two things. Either penetrates from the vascular space, gets in through the bloodstream, gets in through the nose, through the mucosa, or infiltrates the vascular space and clogs it. What is the result? What's called a nanoparticulate stroke, or a hemorrhagic diathesis, fancy word, for it's a predisposition to individuals having brain bleeds.
He explains how they can make people sick with an undetectable illness to make them go crazy.
What I'm doing is I'm using a dispersion methodology to be able to infect sentinel cases with a highly morbid condition. These individuals complain. Again, this is a central nervous system condition. So they're complaining of whatever the bug may do. It'll produce some cascade of neurological and neuropsychiatric signs and symptoms. What I've now done is I've got every individual who is diagnostically hypochondriacal, and I've got every individual who's the worried well flooding the public health system, banging on the door. The CDC comes back and says, nonsense, that's not real. CDC comes back and says, nonsense, that's not real. I come back and say, that's fake news.
We are learning new details tonight about suspected directed energy microwave attacks targeting CIA officers and top national security officials. We first started hearing about them, and we told you about them here on Special Report in 2016, shortly after then President Obama opened the embassy in Havana, Cuba. National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon has the latest tonight about a suspected attack here at home.
U.S. officials say there are now 130 suspected victims, mostly CIA operatives and U.S. diplomats being treated for brain injuries, debilitating headaches and vertigo, the targets they believe of a directed energy microwave weapon.
There's a mysterious direct energy weapon that is being used, and it is causing, in some cases, permanent traumatic brain injury.
New indications suggest the incidents go as far back as 1996. Two individuals working on the NSC believe they were targeted in 2019 and in 2020, just after the election. One was near the White House and one was walking her dog. The Russians have been working on mobile microwave weapons for years.
We have to get more information, and we got to tell the public what's going on.
The U.S. Air Force and tech firm Apparition have developed a mobile high-energy microwave weapon to bring down drones. Apparition is also working on a miniature variant of the weapon that can be easily transported on a pickup truck. This is the type of technology that might be targeting American diplomats.
The CIA is now taking the issue seriously, but without the actual weapon, U.S. officials don't know who to blame and how to stop these alleged attacks.
granite make up the 11 pieces of the monument. The overall height is 19 feet 3 inches from the surface of the ground to the top of the capstone.
Thank you. Congratulations.
There are slots and holes in the center stone that have astrological significance because they have been cut at precise angles to permit accurate readings of the sun and moon at various times of the year.
Standing on the highest point of Elbert County, the Georgia Guidestones have raised a lot of questions. 4 upright stones more than 16 feet high, with support stones totaling almost 238,000 pounds. And there's a message sandblasted in 12 languages in letters 2 inches tall. The sponsors of the mysterious project are said to be an anonymous group of out-of-state Americans promoting the concept of the conservation of mankind. Here's the mystery, though. Elberton granite businessman Joe Findley was contacted to build the project by a man using the fictitious name of R.C. Christian. Granite City Bank President Wyatt Martin served as intermediary, handled the escrow account for all funds, and says he'll carry the secret of who R.C. Christian is to his grave. Well, in spite of what we don't know, Congressman Doug Bernard dedicated the Guidestones with an open mind.
We must stress today the need for self-control, for self-restraint, and yes, self-government, all of which I interpret in this Georgia Guidestone.
The sense of permanence is there, and we do know this. The Georgia Guidestones are some of the largest granite monuments ever erected, and they can be seen for years to come on Georgia Highway 77, 7 miles north of Elberton. Matt Hunt, Action News, on the scene in Northeast Georgia.
I have the heart of a small boy. I keep it in a jar on my desk.
I bet you get a lot of mileage out of that one.
I have never used that line before in my entire life.
Okay.
London bridges make so much sense now. How did I not see this?
Adrenochrome. I was dying to say it when you were telling us about your family's involvement in children's adrenal glands. Is that at least in part what you were talking about? Adrenochrome?
I believe that is one of the compounds that they are seeking. Is one of those. There's when you have norepinephrine and epinephrine, and then you have adrenochrome. These are different compounds of what happens when the body produces adrenaline and how that chain reaction takes place. I don't know the specifics of the names of the compounds that they were after. I know that some of those products had a silvery sheen to them. One of those plasmids that they would put, some of them were literally kept in gold vials, silver vials, and copper vials, and then others were in glass vials. Those were the main product line. Like when I was being used as a mule to traffic those specific compounds, those vials around in central Arizona, in the White Mountains, specifically to a lot of individuals in the Mormon church. The Mormon church was utilizing those compounds during their rituals. They're very much interconnected with the same cult ideologies and rituals of the Freemasons. They were utilizing a lot of those in those rituals, and I was being used as a mule to bring those up from Lake Havasu City, Arizona, where the London Bridge and these Knights of Columbus were operating out of, where they had a factory to produce these things that came up from Nogales and up into Tucson, Arizona, into Phoenix, and this human trafficking chain that went up all the way over into Lake Havasu. It was ultimately the main distribution hub for this was from that sovereign territory for the city of London that is right there at the London Bridge. That is a legal territory that the city of London has like an embassy here in the United States. That is where these activities take place. That is the central hub of the main distribution network for those very products, those human-based products that were being distributed out from there to Las Vegas, to Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco. That was the hub of it, and I still believe Epstein Island is a form of the Pleasure Island. The previous generation of what I witnessed was all centered there in Lake Havasu.
Ireland just performed a live satanic ritual on stage for the Eurovision 2024 semifinals. Viewer discretion is advised. At the end of this clip, there is some demonic possession being reenacted, and if you don't know what Eurovision is, it's an international song competition where each country performs a song and their performances are voted on.
I just had a question. I'm just trying to tell all these young cats out there trying to come up, you know, like, where do you think they gotta go to? From your point of view, you know what I'm saying? What is the best advice you could give them? Because I be telling them, like, my best advice is they gotta do it a whole new way, a different way, like they from another planet. But coming from you, coming from the man of men right now, tell them something good.
I mean, first of all, you want to stay away from these diddy bopping motherfuckers. Motherfuckers dancing all on motherfucking stage and shit. They want your ass. You call them astronauts. So be afraid. Be very afraid.
You really ain't built for the game. Something like that.
Don't be trying to be famous or you gonna run into a motherfucker like that.
Leo Hu recently tried to book a flight. He was told he was banned from flying because he's on the list of untrustworthy people. Leo was a journalist who was ordered by a court to apologize for a series of tweets he wrote and was then told his apology was insincere. I can't buy property. My child can't go to private school, he says. You feel you're being controlled by the list all the time. And the list is now getting longer, as every Chinese citizen is being assigned a social credit score, a fluctuating rating based on a range of behaviors. It's believed that community service and buying Chinese-made products can raise your score. Fraud, tax evasion, and smoking in non-smoking areas can drop it. China's growing network of surveillance cameras makes all of this possible.
It can recognize more than 4,000 vehicles.
Xu Li is the CEO of SenseTime, one of China's most successful artificial intelligence companies. It has created smart cameras for the government that can help catch criminals, but also track average citizens.
You can tell whether it is an adult, a child, a male or female.
Ken DeWaskin has studied China's economic and political culture for more than 3 decades. He says how the new scoring system truly works is kept secret and could be easily abused by the government.
How far into people's daily mundane activities does this go?
Well, I think that the government and the people running the plan would like it to go as deeply as possible to determine how to allocate benefits and also how to impact and shape their behavior.
The fear, of course, is that the government may use this social credit scoring system to punish people that it deems not sufficiently loyal to the Communist Party. And trying to clear your name or fight your score is nearly impossible because there is no due process. Ben Tracy, CBS News, Beijing.